Well, I got a message some time ago, and I think this is part of what sparked this episode too, where the person was saying to me that they've tried rental property investing and they just flat out didn't like it. They don't really like shares, but they both have good, strong incomes. I think in that sort of top 5-10% of income in the country. And they were basically saying, well, like, what options do we have? What do we do? What's the advice for us?
No shares, no property.
Yeah.
I think they're the only two options. I mean, people overcomplicate money, right? Money is so simple. You try and earn as much of it as you can because that's your biggest asset. You try not to spend it all, and then you take it, you pay down debt, you buy some shares, you buy some property. They're the only options you can do. And kind of like when it comes to fitness, you can do CrossFit, you can do F45, you can lift heavy weights, you can do whatever diet you want. 1,000 ways to get to the outcome to be absolutely shredded, but you've got to pick what you're going to do and be consistent. If you're going, I'm not going to do shares, I'm not going to do property. Yep, you could like pay off a mortgage for a period of time. That'll get you in a good position. I have some people go to me, oh, we haven't done a good job. I've just been paying down debt. I'm like, well, that's a pretty bloody good starting
Yeah.
point. But if you're not wanting to do shares, you're not wanting to do property, you've got to accept you're going to be poor, or you're going to have to save so much more money to get there. I'd also say, what are our beliefs that maybe aren't true around those assets to make sure that you can, make an informed decision. The amount of times I hear that, like, I don't understand shares, I can't touch shares, put your bloody hands away. Why do we have to go around touching everything? You get yourself in trouble. You got to make a decision on what assets you're going to invest into. But if you're just going to save your way to freedom, I don't want to go on that journey.
So that would look like basically term deposits and savings accounts.
It's a horrendous plan. Like, in terms of plans, that is just like the worst plan.
Well, let's play it. So I come to you and I say, look, I earn good money and I've decided that I'm going to get term deposits and interest rates. I've figured it all out. Like, what's wrong with my plan?
Okay, so term deposit, right?
Yeah.
What's a term deposit going at these days?
You might get a 4.5 maybe?
No, maybe if you're lucky. Maybe if you're lucky. And what's inflation running at?
Apparently it's only 3.1.
Yeah.
But, my household inflation seems to be a bit higher than that.
That's just because of your lifestyle choices. Okay, I've told you to stay away from Gucci.
I'm not Mike lately.
So, like, if you think about a term deposit rate running at like 4.5, you got to take off tax first. So you're at 3. Inflation's sitting at 3. You're at 0. That's the problem. You need to grow your money above inflation. Otherwise, I mean, everybody talks about compounding returns, one of the greatest, forces in the financial universe. I don't know how that Marvel movie's going to go off in terms of the selling power, but you need to be able to grow your wealth. You can't save your way to wealth.
So I've got 100 rack that I saved, and before talking to you, and I chuck it into my term deposit at 4.5%. I get to the end of the year, and I've now got 104,500. And now I've got to contribute $1,500 of that to help fund the superannuation bill that continues to increase in the country. So now I've got $3,000 left. So I've got 103,000. Basically, what you're saying is that a year has gone by. Yes, I've got an extra $3,000, but I can only buy the same amount of stuff that I could a year ago because all of that stuff has become 3% more expensive.
Yeah, and one of the most confusing things that happen is when interest rates are really high. So when term deposit rates at 6%, people go, you beauty. But it's just because inflation is high. You are no wealthier. It's just your costs have gone, cost of living has gone up, and the interest rate is reflecting that. So you just got to be really careful.
Do you have any opinions as to why Kiwis love term deposits so much? Like, why is it that we seek so much safety and security? There's more money in term deposits and savings accounts than the entire value of our NZX companies.
Yeah. I mean, probably like shows like yours and like mine, Checks and Balances, where we're educating Kiwis about money. That didn't start early enough. There was nothing like KiwiSaver. One of the best things this country has ever done to be able to understand volatility and shares and compounding returns was KiwiSaver. There's the people generally with money are the boomers, right? In term deposits, they weren't part of a generation where they got educated on those options. I still have people talk to me about the 1987 stock crash, dodgy financial advisors that are going to be like going like invest into these companies and then they report your money and run off because there was no regulation back there. I think there's a whole range of different things. And then, dare I say, there might be a bit of like a mentality in the country around being a bit more like risk adverse, not really understanding the cost of not investing as well. Because the only thing worse than staying in term deposits long term is going into something else thinking the risk profile is the same as term deposits. That's the only worst combination.